Hello everyone, GK here. Apologies for my mild hiatus and somewhat sloppy intro, but I wanted to talk about something I don't think has really been covered that much, at least not that I could find. There's a lot of talk of good shows, bad shows, the best episodes of good shows, the worst episodes of good shows. But has anyone really talked about the inverse? A lousy, lame, or otherwise bad show that actually has an episode or two of merit? But before I retreat as a mere voiceover, please, I would very much appreciate a thumbs up or a thumbs down whether you like this video or not. Seriously, I will not be offended if you do thumbs down, as it will help me a lot more than you know. And I look forward to knowing if you like this video idea and if it tickles the YouTube algorithm. So, what's the show I'm going to be talking about? Oliver Bean. And what's Oliver Bean? It's a poor man's Malcolm in the Middle. Now, that is a bit of an oversimplification, though it's clear this show tries to be a Malcolm replacement. And that's not to say the show is completely unwatchable, or really all that bad. I put this more in the lame and forgettable category. It did manage to get 2 seasons before getting canned, and rates decently okay on IMDb, for what that's worth. If you're a fan of Malcolm, then you might get something out of this show. Its editing style and feel is different enough to set it apart, though the similarities are hard to ignore. I probably can't play too many clips, or for too long with full audio without getting a strike, but if you're curious to see what I mean, you can find all of Season 1 on YouTube if you really want to check it out. I do recall watching the show when it initially aired, but I don't have much recollection about it. It came out in 2003, so forgive me for not being able to fully remember a show from 20 years ago. But yeah, I could really only remember one full episode, the one I want to talk about today. And having looked it up, I found it was actually the very first episode, which is good practice for any medium. You always want to put a little TLC on the opener to get people hooked. So the show follows the Bean family, of course, during the 60s, with the titular character, Oliver, being the narrator. The episode is called A Day at the Beach, and we get introduced to his family. Ted, his brother, and his parents, Jerry and Charlotte. They appear to live in a small apartment with implied financial difficulties. The family breadwinner, Jerry, being unwilling to buy an air conditioner or join a beach club due to the cost. You see, Jerry's just a humble working guy, a dentist. And this is one thing that sort of loses me. Financial struggles are relatable, but not when it's a dentist whom I'm pretty sure even in the 60s should be fairly well off, right? Anyway, Charlotte wants to go to the club to increase her social standing, and Oliver wants to go because a girl he pervs on attends this club. Despite Jerry's unwillingness to go, he does relent. Charlotte then preps herself to come off as more sophisticated, as this club requires approval before joining. We see Jerry acting obnoxious and brazen, implying he's going to ruin this for his wife.
You'll fit right in. You're a fascinating conversationalist.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because what I really want, Jerry...
They arrive at this beach club, and I don't know why they keep calling it a beach club when it's clearly a pool, but, you know, splitting hairs. And it's at this point the family split up into their own B-plots, before they converge at the end. And despite the show being named Oliver Bean, the first episode gives more development towards the parents. The parents' plot is what I remembered and what I want to focus on. All you really need to know about Oliver's plot is that he finds the girl he likes and enters a swimming contest with her, even though he can't swim, and Ted gets ensnared by a cougar. Charlotte, being overly self-conscious, comes to believe that her bathing suit is out of fashion, which will result in their rejection into the club. So she commits to wearing a robe and refusing to swim. She and Jerry are talking with the couple that are responsible for accepting or rejecting them. Jerry comes to find out that everyone at the club is rather affluent, with the only other dentist basically dying. This results in Jerry now being interested in being accepted into the club for financial gain. As they continue to interact, This couple takes a liking to Jerry for acting genuine, while Charlotte begins to act very strange given the heavy robe she is wearing and the heat she is subjected to, which puts off the couple.
The next thing you know, this baboon.
Did you say the moon, Gerald?
Not only that, but Mom's brain was turning to goo under that Indian sweat lodge of a robe.
It's interesting that you should mention the moon, Gerald. I think that one day we will walk on the moon. And there, I believe we'll find vast lunar mountains, magnificent oceans, and cavernous craters.
As that couple are discussing privately whether or not to accept or reject the beans, they mention how charmed they were by Jerry, but due to Charlotte acting incredibly weird and fake, they were going to reject them. Jerry overhears this. Knowing that Charlotte will be devastated at their rejection being because of her, Jerry decides to do what a man in his situation must do. He gets absolutely plastered, gathers everyone's attention, and shows his ass to the whole club.
Check out the craters on this moon!
That magnificent bastard had saved us all.
Charlotte is mortified, while Oliver and Ted get freed from their plot lines as a result. The episode ends with the family in their car driving home. Charlotte, of course, incredibly disappointed in Jerry. And yes, it is nighttime, even though the previous scene was in broad daylight. Just go with it. And that was episode 1 of Oliver Bean. The reason I like the episode is not because of the comedy or the tone. Honestly, the jokes are very hit and miss, and the style of delivery, which is made to be deliberately awkward, is personally not to my taste.
We're from the membership committee.
What the hell is that?
Don't worry, it sounds more intimidating than it really is. We're just here to observe and judge your every move. Just kidding. But we are.
No, what I find incredibly fascinating is the situation between Jerry and Charlotte, and how it all went down. It doesn't even really build up to anything amazing, but the actual resolution I thought was a very clever bit of writing. The rest of the series, at least throughout Season 1, as I couldn't find Season 2 anywhere easily, the conflicts and resolutions feel very paint by numbers and predictable. I mean, it is just a family sitcom. Its focus is more on the comedy and individual moments as opposed to grand plots and major character development. The plot points of episode 1 definitely deserve to be in a better show. There is actually one detail I misremembered about this episode. I recalled Jerry never having any interest in the club at all. And in my opinion, that probably would have made the episode a bit stronger. Jerry flipping on the issue does add some level of self-sacrifice, as he now gives up potentially wealthy clients. But I think if he hated the club all throughout, and he went ahead and made the reason they got rejected because of him and not Charlotte, this would have made Jerry appear to have been an even more selfish prick, while knowing he did it all just to spare his wife's feelings. In any case, that was my favorite episode of Oliver Bean. And I'm sure once this video is over, we are all going to quietly forget this show ever existed. But if any of you have any thoughts about this show, this episode, or this general concept, be sure to leave a comment down below. If any of you can think of an underrated show that might have a good episode in it, a good thing about a bad season, a bad movie with a good scene, or possibly even a bad video game with a good level, feature, or mechanic, it's a concept I would love to explore further, but I'm gonna need your help to find more examples of such. And to reiterate from earlier, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. I know most of you initially subscribed to me in relation to video game content, and if that's something you want me to focus on, be sure to let me know so I know how to tailor my content accordingly. If you discovered me through this video, I would very much appreciate a sub to let me know to continue to make content like this. Check the description for my other links, as I primarily stream games, particularly Mario Party, every Friday. I very much appreciate you all watching up to this point, and I will catch you all later.